I'm not gonna worry about your level of concern.
Yoy and double yoy.
We talking about
Twitter.
Triple yoy.
Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
Quadruple yoy.
We love Pittsburgh, PA. We love Steeler Nation.
We mark ourselves.
Welcome back to another edition of the podcast that TikTok said was proof that not everyone should have a podcast. This is What Jin's Talking About, the conversation about the Steelers' social media conversation, exposing all the hot and toxic takes throughout the week in social media and beyond. Is there a beyond?
I think there's the beyond is just more kinds of social media now.
Yes, when eventually there's so much social media that it becomes its own dimension, and you can.
We also would have accepted dementia that you went into.
Yes,
that's fine too.
Very nice. Okay. Coming up in the second half, everyone's talking about Lev Bell apologizing to the fans, but it's time for fans to apologize to Lev Bell.
What?
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
In the second half.
Good.
Second half.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now we've got big news to get to and reason to bring back this song. See, the names all seem to change in these other towns, but the main Steelers way is to stick around. Don't need to go around and shop, 'cause we know just what we got. Welcome back.
This is a product of your journey,
I'm thinking I'm back.
and your journey's not over yet.
The show goes on.
The show goes on.
This is my home.
It wasn't like a big surprise, but I just wanted a reason to use that song again. We didn't really have
nothing wrong with that.
Love that song.
didn't have a lot of people coming back this year in the offseason.
Because they brought in so many new guys.
Yeah, so all right, found a reason to use the song. That's right, because someone is well, it's not that he's coming back. He's sticking back. He's sticking around.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Let's get to the takes. Starting with at Chris Muller, PGH. Chris Muller. Steelers keep spending on defense when it's an offensive league. Keep building for a running game when it's a passing league. Zigging while everyone else zags is a plan to be sure, just not confident it's going to work. What? I thought we'd be so excited that Alex Highsmith signed a contract, but what are we doing? We're just keep spending on defense in an offensive league.
It is weird because even if you were going to make this criticism of the Steelers spending too much money on defense and making priority a defense at the expense of the offense, there really aren't too many teams that would make an effort not to sign their third or fourth year linebacker that made it into double digits in sacks. Like that's something that every team wants to keep. Even if you just look at the Chiefs, that's the one thing they really have prioritized on that defense is pass rushers. Like they're very upfront about that, and that makes sense because it seems like if you can't have anything else on your defense, that's the thing you'd want the most.
Yep.
What's the alternative? What are we going to spend? What would we spend on offense that we haven't already, have on the roster?
Thank you. That just hit me because because you're so right, because isn't this part of the benefit of having the quarterback on the rookie deal that you don't have to make those kinds of compromises?
And we know that, outside linebackers are the engine that fuels our team. I think Tomlin said that. And the alternative is what behind that is Rashid Hamilcar,
right? Or it's drafting another maybe as good as Alex Highsmith next year, but probably not a guy you're going to draft in the third round. Instead, you're going to have to get that guy in the higher round and hope he works out. Instead, you get Highsmith for multiple years at this price. I mean, it's hard for me to complain about this today in July.
Yeah, or anytime. But there's some some of these fans act like they're the ones controlling the purse strings, right? Let's get to the next level of criticism. At David M. Todd said a month ago, I wouldn't pay Highsmith $15 million a year. Steelers went $17 million a year. Big overpay in my book. Hope I'm wrong. I would have drawn the line at $15 million, but $17 million is a total ripoff.
Yeah, I mean that feels a bit weird. I mean, I can understand being gun shy after, if there's one team that understands how it can go badly when you pay an outside line, it's the Lamar Woodley situation, which is as tragic as it gets. But in terms of paying and what you got out of the guy after you paid, but again, it's hard to feel like they overpaid Highsmith right now. This seems like even if it's a little bit above what you thought it was going to be. Again, this is what the double-digit sack outside linebacker goes for. It's similar to the conversation we had about Chooks last year.
That is a reasonable expectation.
I agree. Highsmith is top 10 in salary now, but it's still half of TJ Watt.
Right.
It's not like, because I think Madden's like, oh, we're paying Robin Batman prices. No, we still have Batman up here, and then Highsmith is he's a very strong Robin.
Yes, exactly, and I think that just it. I think he has to continue to be a very strong Robin. But again, this is, to continue using their terminology, this is an ascending player. I mean, it's not, this was Highsmith's first big year, the first year where he had all the responsibilities himself, more or less. So yeah, so it's not unreasonable to expect Highsmith to actually somewhat improve.
Wow, can you imagine that? TJ Watt with franchise-setting pace numbers, and then someone else continuing to ascend on the opposite side. Mm-hmm. Does anyone have a chance? 16-0.
But again, that's also why it's okay to have Marcus Golden in there, being like, okay, so you don't have to play these guys every single snap of the game.
But more bad news. At Pittsburgh Sport, Steelers takeaways. Yeah, I feel like they're going backwards strategically. Run game and heavy reliance on defense is complete opposite of what has worked for most teams. Why aren't we doing what most teams are doing to win, which is MVP quarterbacks and something else,
and one giant receiver one incredibly talented receiver that you end up losing to the Dolphins for a bunch of draft picks. I love the idea we're going backwards strategically. I'm like, sir, that's called a retreat. But the other part of it about this is that this feeds into what we talk about so much with Tomlin but this is what can win today. This is how this team can win today. There's nothing they could have bought in the offseason that would have made this team, that would given you the reasonable expectation for them to come into this next season as the Chiefs, as, I don't know, the Dolphins. I'm not trying, like, what were they going to do? They buy the biggest receiver out there? That wasn't how this free agent class was looking. Like, and they have young receivers to see develop. It seems like they tried to improve the parts that they could improve with an eye towards, let's protect our young offense.
And win and go to win now. They're playing to win now,
the next game, yes.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, not the Baltimore Ravens, as of this morning, are a playoff team.
Right now, we're a
was
playoff
that
team.
May? I forget what he said. He said it at some hilarious time where nothing had changed.
Now he's doubled down and says we're a top 5 roster.
That's that's a man. Again, if you want to be like, how can you troll? That's how you do it, because you can either go very against the Steelers or very pro the Steelers, and you're going to be able to get a lot of heat either way.
I'm worried about all the pro. The bandwagon is getting heavy. We're trying to forge
but
the
nothing's
Colorado
changed.
River.
There's nothing. The wagon hasn't moved. The wagon is still in the shed or wherever you put the wagon.
Standard is the standard.
All right.
That sounds wise. A wise man once said that. While we're talking Highsmith, let's stay on defense. We don't usually lead defense. Mm-hmm. Let's go to at Trib Sports, Tribune Review Sports. If Leal can get snaps on both inside and outside, it might provide him a chance to play a starter's share of snaps without being a starter. It turns out Leal played 43 snaps in the defensive tackle position, 55 at defensive end, 69 at outside linebacker. So maybe that is, maybe your number 3 linebacker.
Number 4.
Or number 4. And even 6 at inside linebacker. So is he the jack of all trades, or Are we going to determine this year what one of those actually is?
Well, first, I like that he played all these snaps. The only picture we can use in this tweet is the one from a preseason game he played in. But okay. But no, I think that I mean, if there's one thing we found the Steelers do have started to like this positionless football, meaning like a guy you can put in a bunch of different places. And Leal certainly seems to be as qualified for that as anyone, as much as Keanu Neal, as much as some of the others. So yeah, I mean, it seems like you could move him around at a bunch of different places. I would like to find out, hey, what's this guy best at? Seems like we can determine that somewhere along the way. But, for a team that has a bunch of guys that really haven't played together all that much, particularly early in the season, having a talented, young, energetic person that can jump into a bunch of different places, fit a bunch of different holes, could be a true boon.
Is the Highsmith contract any indication at all that Leal, we don't know what the heck we need? We need two guys there locked up on the ends because we don't know what we have after that.
Well, I mean, I don't think Leal necessarily probably figured too much into their reasoning. It's, hey, we really like what Alex is doing. But I think, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that even they're not 100% sure what they're going to do with Leal yet. And I don't think that's maybe necessarily the worst thing.
We shall see. Time will tell. Is all things. With all things.
In the future, where we live. Yes.
Yeah. All right. One more thing on defense. At JJ Watt, iron sharpens iron. The workout session on the golf course. We've got TJ and JJ. What's going on here? They went from the first brothers on the box of Wheaties to the first brothers on the cover of Playgirl?
I didn't know you could just do this on a golf course. Like, I guess if you're rich, you can just start, shadow boxing your brother in shorts on someone's golf course. I mean, these. It certainly looks like they had a spirited workout. In a weird way, this almost feels like one of those like private things that maybe you, the fan, aren't necessarily supposed to see all that much. Like this is a family event. It's like watching someone eat dinner.
Hey, let's want to go work out on the golf course. I see that there's a gap in play. Let's go. Want to go grab a workout on the green? Hey, we got a photographer with us. Why don't we go out and post this?
I don't have to work on my short game anymore. Why don't I grab your leg?
I don't know what to think about this.
This could also be something, and it most likely is, that they started in that, remember that compound they have in Wisconsin? Like maybe maybe this is something that comes out of that. It's
this is compound behavior.
Weather.
Yeah. This is, if people thought that Juju was weird for dances on the 50.
Right. I mean, it's the family wrestling on the par 5.
Okay, enough, because we got to get to some real news, because...
Oh my God!
Groomed.
Kenny, you bastards!
The grooming of Kenny continues. We've got a real projection here from at Red Zone Insider, James Layton. Poll, how many yards will Kenny Pickett throw for this season? 2,800 to 3,100, 30%. 3,200 to 3,900, 50%. Over 4,000, only 16.7%. Is this an accurate? Is this an honest prediction?
Well, I mean, it's as you know, I'm always surprised when a prediction is optimistic. That always feels like something, a pleasant surprise. And this certainly seems to err on the side of that. It also seems like the kind of thing, I mean, I'm not the guy making surveys, but it seems like you kind of gave everyone sort of an easy out by having the 3,200 to 3,900 option there. Like, as long as you think Kenny's going to get better, but you maybe don't think he's going to be an all-pro, that allows you, whether you're a Steelers fan or just someone that watches football, you could kind of duck in there pretty easy.
It's my quarterback.
Well, you see, I voted for 2,800 to 3,100.
I see that, yes.
But I don't even know if it goes under that. I'm not going to be outraged or anything.
Well, I mean, it's obviously going to come down to the record, but but they could very well be in the 2,800 to 3,100, even the 2,500 to 3,100 range, and still have a winning season, depending on if the running game goes to where we hope and how it's going to go.
We've had everyone's trying to gauge what Kenny's success is going to be let's go right to the man.
Okay.
At Kyle Beagle. Kyle Beagle. He's not the man. No, I'm talking.
He's a good guy. Though.
Oh, is he? Oh, we
Is
know
he?
Kyle? Oh, okay.
Kevin Colbert says Steelers will have a successful season if Kenny Pickett, quote, picks up where he left off. What does that mean? Because, some of those games were 3/4 of crickets.
Right, and I think so. But it's the fourth quarter of that, I imagine, that Kevin's talking about. But by that same token, it's 3/4 of crickets, but it's not 3/4 of not crickets because you lost the game there, too.
Yeah.
I imagine
yeah.
that's also part of it, that those crickets were not, cricketing for an interception. I forget what the noise you call when a cricket makes, but regardless.
Chirps? Is it chirp?
It
Yeah,
probably,
I think
is it
it's
chirp?
chirp.
It's chirp. See, I've learned. And look, Kyle Beagle's a good guy. Crickets chirp.
You're
I've learned a lot
exactly
just
right.
on this tweet. Yeah.
Okay, and if anything is a good premonition, if we're looking for a sign,
Ooh.
where is it? Wow, we'll go to at D Love Sports, D Sports and Coffee. Wow, Kenny Pickett with his second home run of the night. We've got the Cam Softball
Okay.
Classic,
Uh-huh.
and boom.
Okay.
MVP, Kenny hits dingers, all upper body too.
I see that. Yeah, not a lot of stepping forward. I mean, it's
Confident trot.
He's been working out.
he has. It's not Sidney Crosby hitting one over to Clemente Wall from the left side, but it's quite impressive here doing it.
Yeah, this is Washington Wild Things, field or whatever. Is that, what do you say? Is that a good premonition?
Well, I mean, it's
Zero energy?
Well,
Or?
I think it's one of those things that it's fun to talk about this and not the opposite. Because if it was the opposite, someone would have gotten very bent out of shape. Kenny struck out 3 times and grounded to short at the softball game. Oh my God, his hands got smaller in the offseason.
I would have immediately
right,
benched him.
exactly. Yeah,
At least in the preseason. Put
that
him
would
on
have been
ice.
half our episode. Like we might not even have made it to Lev Bell if something had gone bad at the softball game.
For the record, Muth won the home run derby.
Okay.
So,
Was Muth the tallest man there hitting? Maybe not compared to Cam, but he couldn't be too far from, like, in just terms of sheer size of height of man, Muth might have been up there.
yeah. So, you are exactly right. Okay.
Thank you, Coach.
More important news. Play the hits 24/7 on Canada FM. Starting with at Blitzberg. Steelers offense have the playmakers this year to make some noise. Let's see if Matt Canada can deliver. Once again, it's execution over coaching. Is this Matt Canada's fault if this isn't a playoff team?
Well, first, I wanted to say this in a weird way. This is like the most optimistic Matt Canada tweet. Like, this is, let's see if he can deliver. Like, that's not an open condemnation. It's not an absolute insult. This is the most positive thing that I would imagine we see some of these accounts in some time. I mean, it's where I feel like this is something we've talked about before, exactly where that line is between like how much coaching can influence it versus how much the players can do. Canada, but as we said on their hot seat day, Canada's going to be the one to take the fall if they don't execute. Like that, whatever the relationship between those two may be, he is the one with the most to lose as of we speak right now, the one closest to the edge.
Let's go to the drama of the week.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
At A Carf Anya 18. A Carf 18. This is such a direct shot at Matt Canada. Deontay Johnson tweeted a fire emoji to a tweet that Andy Reid lets his players draw up plays. I mean, how much, I can't believe they're doing Ben like drawings in Kansas City, and Andy Reid's like, yeah, just go ahead and have fun.
Well, I mean, I agree with you on that. I do think he probably says, hey, Pat, if you see something you like out there, what do you like, Pat? Let's do it. I mean, follow your instincts, Pat. 2-time Super Bowl champion, MVP, etc. I mean, it's very, very, very hard for me to believe that this is the shot at Canada from Deontay. Because I think this is part, and this is something, I don't know if we've talked about this so much, but like, I think there's a feeling that a lot of us, when we see someone else engage with social media, we think they engage with it the exact same way we would. So, like, whereas a regular person might think, like, I'm getting shot at my boss, Deontay might think, like, oh, that's cool. Fire emoji, huh? And then goes on with the rest of his day, like a human being.
You make a great point.
I love how it's kind of like an inside joke among the players. DJ doesn't get in the end zone and Canada calls crappy plays. Like when Kenny did a podcast with Cam at the softball game, and they were even brought it up, and we have some of that sound right here.
Last year, Deontay had 0 touchdowns. How do you change that?
We're going to give him the ball. He's going to do his thing. What? I think it was kind of, we had some bad luck. I mean, he was out of the end zone, he had 1 foot in and I think 2 times. It's just kind of, it was like one of those things. So I'm excited for him to have a big year. He's going to have a bounce back year. And I know he's putting a lot of work in.
Well, the word on the street is Matt Canada is not going to open up the playbook. So how do you feel about that?
So it's like they're joking about,
Yes.
Canada. It's like, it makes it more obvious to me as the fan, like, we're kind of barking up the wrong tree maybe with all this, anti-Canada, anti-this, anti-that.
Well, I'll go one step further. I think this definitively put to bed the whole Chris Boswell, not because of you comment to Canada after that one game. I mean, this is Cam doing almost the exact same joke.
Yeah, it's a callback to not because of you. I think you're right.
See, that's the thing. Now I'm assuming that people are acting the same way I would, like we were talking about the social media. But I do think the idea of it being an ongoing joke throughout the locker room that it's all Canada's fault is something I think a lot of them are attuned to.
You're exactly right.
And Coach, too. I want to hear Coach make the joke. Let's have the... He did say something, Ben's last year, Coach did say something like, yeah, even the coordinators have some rookie pains or something.
I believe it, yeah.
Okay, let's go to, speaking of DJ, at Scarpizio Scarps. Deontay Johnson needs 19 catches to move into 5th place for Steelers all-time receptions. 397 yards gets him into the top 10, 5 touchdowns, and he's only the 13th player in team history with 25 receiving scores. Reminder, he's not just some dude. DJ... has a Pro Bowl on his resume, just because he didn't get to the end zone, which is, it's like Kenny said, it's just a matter of kind of circumstance. It wasn't, anything else. And the people who say, but DJ runs backwards, and I think I've proven that to be wrong. Google that.
Well, 5th place for all-time receptions, that would mean, without having the list in front of me, and please don't look it up, that would mean he would have had to have beat out somebody good. Somebody that we've heard of, some very good receiver, with this team's history. So that makes a lot of sense. And it's, he's still, through the first half part of his career. This is 4th or 5th year of Deontay at this point. So, yeah, he's a receiver you'd rather have on your team than not. It's hopefully they can get the most out of him here. But yeah, the idea that he's in isolation, the problem with this team feels wrong.
Exactly. One more thing on Canada. At Thompson Photo 12, Ed Thompson. Why does Canada still have a job? Well, it's a combination of not being that good of a team and then poor execution. It has absolutely nothing to do with offensive coordinator. I'm at practice every day, and have to say that the OC is the least of their concern. What on a scale of 1 to 10? How true is this? Is it absolutely nothing to do with offensive coordinator?
What I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, how true is this? How true is Ed being at practice every day? Who is this guy? I don't know.
Do I know Ed?
He's a good guy.
He is?
He
okay.
He's
He knows all these people I don't.
This one I don't know.
Is he a trip photographer? Is he a trip
Oh,
photographer?
okay, then sure. Then he certainly sees a lot more practice than me, and I withdraw the comment as much as you can on an unpaid podcast. But no, this kind of thing has snuck out in a few places. We talked about it last year. I think Josh Taylor, whose commentary I enjoy, went on someone's podcast. Maybe it was Christopher Carter's. It all starts to blur together because I listen to too many of these things at this point, including the one I'm on. And just the idea that, it's very easy to blame Canada, but there are a lot of guys out there missing assignments. There are a lot of guys with that are making mistakes, that don't have enough talent. And that's where I come back to that conundrum that we mentioned a few minutes ago about, like, that all may be true, and these guys may need to get better, and it's certainly on them as the players, but man, you got to coach them up too.
So you're saying it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I think it has to be a connection to both of them. But again, what I do stand by is that if they do stumble here, if this doesn't go as well as they hope, then Canada's going to take the blame long before any of the rest of them do.
Yeah, yep, that is for certain. All right, coming up in the second half, we promised Lev Bell apology tour and why fans owe Lev an apology. We'll also talk maybe fantasy. Well, we can either talk Madden, which I don't want to, or fantasy Steeler sprint lineups.
Oh, okay. Well, that's anything's got to be better than Madden.
We'll see you in the second half. Please pay attention to these sponsors or lack thereof. Oh, who are the people in Yin's neighborhood? In Yin's neighborhood, in Yin's neighborhood. Say, who are the people in Yin's neighborhood? The people who will tweet each day. Oh, hi there, fellow Yinzer.
Hello.
You look like a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
I've been a fan my entire life.
Wow, so who's your favorite player?
Just one? I don't know, maybe TJ or Minka or Najee.
Well, what about Coach?
Coach Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, you know the standard is the standard and things of that nature.
Tomlin should be fired.
Fired? Isn't that a bit much?
I don't think so. Oh, Tomlin is not the reason why he's never had a losing season. Just because he's won a Lombardi doesn't mean it wasn't Cowher's team.
'Cause a Tomlin hater, someone in Yin's neighborhood.
In his neighborhood, I'm in his neighborhood.
A Tomlin hater, someone in Yin's neighborhood. A person who will tweet each day.
I'll see you around.
All right.
Hey, watch it! Where you going? To a fire?
Ah, fire Tomlin!
No, cut that out!
Tomlin's not the problem.
Thank you.
The problem is the quarterback. This guy is the worst starting quarterback in Steelers history.
Well, we'll find out in camp.
Are you kidding me? The team's best hope is to tank and get the #1 pick.
Well, that kind of feels like hyperbole to me.
I'm the only one who's actually being realistic about this team! Oh, the Steelers really lost their way. I've been saying that like every day. I want everyone to look at me, so my opinion's always contrary.
'Cause a clout chaser is someone in Yin's neighborhood.
In Yin's neighborhood.
He's in Yin's neighborhood.
And Tomlin haters, someone in your neighborhood.
Well, they're the people that you meet
when you're scrolling through your tweets.
They're the people to delete each day. We're back. I don't think they ever said we're back. We're back in Poltergeist.
No, it's one of those things. It's like play it again, Sam. But I think it's they're here. I think was the one.
Or get ready to meet my little friend. Wasn't exactly.
I think that's Poltergeist 3.
Yes. Well, it's the second half of what Yin's talking about. We promised Lev Bell talk, but first I want to quickly touch on some Tomlin hate.
Oh.
First up, at Mark Madden X, Mark Madden. The Steelers will never again accomplish anything significant with Tomlin as coach. I know that because they've accomplished zero significant over the last 12 years. The notion that Tomlin will get a contract extension soon when he's got 2 years left on his current deal is beyond crazy. No significant accomplishment over the last 12 years?
Well, I mean, and for this to work, I assume you have to define significant accomplishment down to simply a championship. When was the last trip to the title game? It's the one where we're throwing to Kobe Hamilton, right? Because Bell was hurt early in the Patriots game.
So was that 13?
I want to say 13. Yeah, it was either 13, 14, or 15, somewhere in there. Yeah.
So it's been 10 years. It's been
Yes.
It's been around then. Well, how about here's one thing that Tomlin has accomplished at FanDuel. It's been a dominant decade for the Chiefs, Patriots, and Steelers. In the past 10 years, Steelers have third most wins in this past decade, which Madden would say is our zero accomplishment era. So we're 160-2. Only the Patriots and the Chiefs have more wins in the last decade.
And it is fascinating that the Steelers, the other team in their division is so close to them. I mean, it's the Bills have really come on recently in the last so many years, but it is a lot easier to get to that 117 when a lot of your division has been traditionally bad.
Yeah, I didn't realize how the Raiders are under 500, the Chargers are under 500. So yeah, the Chiefs have had it a little bit easy streak.
The Broncos have fielded some teams, but this is by no means like the best decade of Broncos football either.
And we've got Steelers and Ravens head to head, and what you don't see on there are the Bengals creeping up,
right?
Who've
become a team in the last so many years.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were bad for a lot of that decade, and the Browns are something else. But yeah, it's but it shows just how competitive and tough it is in that division. Boy, without the Ravens or without the Steelers, either one of those teams is probably a little higher on this list.
All right, and we know that the Steelers are projected to have 8.5 wins. 9.13 wins, depending on who you're talking to. But here we've got at Bet Pennsylvania, betpennsylvania.com, the Steelers have only a 43.5% chance to make the playoffs here in July. That's that's less than half. That's
right, and that's a stat from our friends tracking the odds at Ball Blast 'em. which is something I guess we can mention on this podcast. I hope. That's. I'm glad that's who Bet Pennsylvania uses. But I mean, it does seem to be that the bettors have. I mean, the handicappers have finally caught on to the idea that like the Steelers play close games and it's going to come down to the end. And then you see, since it's going to come down to the end, I mean It is, I mean, again, obviously you're trying to get as many bets as possible. That's the point of the handicapper. But it's weird for me to think that, like, okay, this is almost exactly what just happened this season. Like, it came down to the very end. Like, this is, so they're just basically telling you the exact same thing is going to happen again.
You're right. That's exactly what happened. We were 9-8,
right,
and it did not make the playoffs.
Right,
so.
and you could say it's a very similar argument for Roethlisberger's last year, just because I'm sure the odds going into that game where the Jaguars beat the Bills were a lot lower than 43% of them making the playoffs. So I mean, they're just going off of saying the last 2 years are going to occur a third time, which feels strange. That feels like a bet I wouldn't want to make.
So yeah, the last 2 years it's come down to week 18. If it came and it's been 1-1, you would say, as far as making the playoffs, and we think it'll come down to week 18 again,
right,
in Baltimore.
Yeah, and I would just say on top of that, 1 year they did make the playoffs, 1 year they didn't. Okay, but the odds of them making the playoffs the year they didn't weren't great. Like, I would assume they were at 43% or lower going into that.
We'll find out in January. All these things will be answered.
Right, exactly. It's
when they actually play the games. That's why we play the games.
There you
so
go.
we can talk about it on our podcast.
Talk about it later and project into the
All
future.
right. It was the apology heard round Snapchat.
Oh, God.
At Le'Veon Bell. It's all love. Black heart emoji, gold heart emoji, bumblebee emoji.
Oh.
Let's hear the apology. It's fans have been waiting for.
I don't think they have.
No?
I don't think they've been waiting.
Well, let's hear it.
I never apologize to the fans for really sitting out or leaving the Steelers. I never apologize.
What?
So I'm going to say I apologize for leaving the best damn fans there is in this damn world.
What?
I shouldn't have left. I apologize. What? I should never have left. I apologize. That's my fault. That's on me.
What is this what do you feel about this? Is this a sincere apology? Is this a necessary apology?
I think it's as sincere as Bell can get. I don't think this is a real deep thinker that spends a lot of time analyzing his feelings. I think what he feels and what he's thinking in the moment is sincere to him. So I believe he meant it. I don't believe he's lying. I don't believe this apology ended with him pushing some kind of crypto site or something to bet blackjack.
Well,
So.
no, he did say, "I need your support in my future endeavors."
Did he seriously?
Yeah. So
okay, so perhaps I'm wrong again. I did not listen to the apology. Does he seriously say that?
He does say, he
he
wants
really
Steeler Nation to support him, and which is why I could see why he's not calling out Jets fans to support him, because Steeler Nation is it has the power to maybe push the needle if we all downloaded a single or something.
And he got a ring with the Chiefs or with the Bucks? He has a ring with somebody, right? Or he didn't dress for the Bucks in that Super Bowl, or he didn't dress for the Chiefs. He bounced around more than people remember after the
I know he
Jets.
played. I know he played for both. I can't remember if he got a ring.
I don't remember either, but okay. But anyway, yes. So so this is an apology that, like the best apologies, ends with like and subscribe.
Well, I do appreciate that. There is some regret, because I think a lot of Steeler fans were like, don't do this, stay with Pittsburgh, we all know it's gonna be better. But there are other things at play. He still is I would say statistically the third best running back in franchise history.
Oh, when they had him, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, he was when he was on the field and not high and doing McKnight Road at well over 100 miles
so
an
you can
hour.
understand why he was trying to reset the market, because it was kind of a generational talent. I think it proved to be, in hindsight, the best thing for the Steelers, because we weren't. Did we have contending teams in those years since?
No, but that first year with James Conner, I mean, all of Conner's injuries, that really did hurt. I wonder if Bell, and I loved Conner, but I also wonder if the Duck and Mason team with Bell maybe does sneak into the playoffs. I think.
But are we like making noise in the playoffs? I mean,
it's the problem with Bell is he was so unreliable. I mean, not just as a human being, but I mean, he's also was injured in that Patriots game. I'm not saying they win that game if they had him, but I mean, it's the other part of it is if Bell wanted to be paid as a generational talent, which in a lot of ways he was, then isn't the point of someone like that they're able to elevate a team that's just okay. I mean, if they had paid him the money, even that they had on the table, you would like to think that, geez, can this guy win a game? I mean, that's what you're paying him to do, is to win you a game that maybe you shouldn't win.
Right? Could he? I mean, I'm trying to think now.
Now I'm trying to remember too. Like,
could he rip open a game?
Okay, here's what. What was the first game without him? I want to say, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I remember watching it with you. The what's the one with Conner where they blow a big lead to the Browns and it ends up as the tie? With Bell, I think they win that game. And I'm not blaming it on James Conner. I'm not doing that at all. But I think with Bell, maybe they win that one.
And that was a half game out of the playoffs, right?
Or I forget what the story was. Maybe something like that.
I think the 7th seed, I think, that season.
Okay, but I think but the idea is if you have someone like Bell, who is, if not the best running back in the league, then right in that conversation is the kind of person that, with his multitude of talents, should have at least won you a game. You can make an argument he won the Chiefs game, although I think Boswell and even Sean Davis, of all people, who made a big play, were parts of that as well.
My thing is, okay, I'm cool if Lev made his apology to fans, but in turn, fans owe an apology to Lev, because so many of the tweets back then were greedy and dope smoker and ungrateful and this typical Steeler fandom.
Wait, why should the fans apologize for calling him a dope smoker? He was.
Well, yeah, but like it's just like name calling. I don't know,
he drove 100 miles an hour high on McKnight Road. I don't understand. Why am I apologizing to a guy that was doing something illegal that we needed him to be in his best shape, and he wasn't? He showed up late for the Jaguars game because he was high.
All right, well, you can keep your tweets about him, I guess.
Why would someone apologize for calling him a dope smoker?
I thought the whole thing of kind of where we stand is like, you are who you tweet as you are, and why am I calling names out to players, and we know how that affects players today, from Terry to Kevin Dodson.
Did the tweets make him show up late to the Jaguars game in the playoffs?
I mean, is that relevant to?
I mean, I just don't understand why I'm apologizing. I mean, I don't mean to be that you should be rude to a guy online, but there's a difference between don't be rude and actively apologize to someone
for the rude behavior.
Okay, I mean, it's if you feel that, I mean, if somebody crossed the line, they should certainly apologize for that. But geez, being mad at an athlete for smoking weed, I don't know. I guess, but I think that's just it. I mean, I'm doing the same thing I talked about earlier. I'm thinking about how I would react to, how I would deal with it versus how someone else would do it. And that's on me. It's not for the people that are there pouring abuse on them. That's wrong. That's obviously wrong.
Does Bell have a point? At Fanta Skippy, Jeffrey Benedict. DJ only has 28 more catches than Lev Bell in 2 fewer games. Maybe Bell did deserve wideout 2 money.
He definitely deserved to be paid the absolute most of what running backs were being paid then. I don't remember what that contract the Steelers offered him was, but I remember hearing it was good, but it was not as good as what he wanted, and it was not as good as what the Jets offered him. That's what I remember.
Right. Well, I think the band is trying to get on the field. Enough caucus. Where is... All right, some odds and ends. Starting with... At Superstars Competition. Here's the running relay event of the 1976 Super Teams final between Pittsburgh Steelers and World Series champion Cincinnati Reds. We've got L.C. Greenwood, Jack. Where's the video?
Wow.
On the big board. Come on. Here we go. We've got L.C. Greenwood, Jack Ham, Franco Harris, Rocky Blyer, Lynn Swan, Mel Blunt. I guess they're doing a 100. I can't tell if this is a 6x100, but if you're just listening and not watching.
And Joe Morgan looks absolutely stacked, by the way. Like, Joe Morgan looks in incredible shape.
Well, Steelers whooped up on these Reds.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, well, here comes Jack Ham on the second leg. Wait till Franco catches it here on the third leg, and Franco has some quietly deceptive speed for a huge man.
Whoa!
That's a big boy, too.
Wow. He's leaving behind who I'm sure is a fine athlete, this guy for the Reds. He's just powered past him. Jeez.
So that video has been going viral.
Can you imagine trying to do this today and how hard it would be to organize all this?
Well, someone asked, where is it? Someone asked at Ike Swaggin' You, Ike Taylor, which 5 from 2008 Steelers would you put in your race? And Ike said, me, Willie Parker, Santonio Holmes, Troy Polamalu, and the dump truck, Najee Davenport. I would love to see that kind of relay race.
I mean, it'd be fantastic. It's and it would also be, it's one of those like when you're watching the cartoon episode and as a kid and you the good guys and the bad guys team up together, because I've always heard these arguments about like which of these players was fastest. Was it Ike? Was it Willie? And I laughed at Davenport, but man, they had him returning kicks. I mean, they knew he wasn't going to fumble the ball. They knew he was going to run right ahead. Maybe he breaks a tackle. You didn't want to put Holmes out there all the time unless it was the playoffs. You couldn't put Parker returning kicks in Ike's hands. No. So, yeah, I mean, this makes a lot of sense.
I would put the team up of this is in 2008, but what about Darius Hayward-Bay, Ryan Shazier, AB, Marcus Wheaton, and Sammy Coates?
Wow.
Do you think that could compete? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think it would compete in terms of sheer speed with this team. Absolutely. I mean, it's Hayward Bay never lost a step. Wheaton and Coates were as fast as it gets. Yeah, I think that would absolutely be a squad. And again, I mean, I hate to say this, but like if it comes down to the last one, it's Sammy Coates and Najee Davenport. That's Sammy Coates. Sammy's running off with that. Like,
could I take a team of like those that could have been, would have been, with like Dree Archer, Brian Rainey,
Chris Rainey?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who went on to be like the all-time touchdown kickoff return in the CFL guy? I think I remember hearing, or something like that. And was shorter than me. That's the one thing I always remember about Rainey.
Put Golson in there.
Wow.
Well, I think
that's what we've been talking about.
I think so. Keep the conversation going on social media. Maybe I am on there, not really, but
I mean, have you done more with Threads yet? I haven't this week. I feel bad.
I don't thread. I don't tweet. I don't thread. I mean, I'm on Threads, but you can't search by topic, which is the biggest negative for Threads.
I keep hearing they're going to change that, but they haven't yet as we sit here.
Yeah, because like if you can't search Steeler, if you search Steelers, you get the Steelers account. So I kind of look that way through Threads, but it's not good yet. TikTok, I'm on TikTok. I'm at Kyle Christ. Greg, what about yourself?
Oh God, I'm trying to stick to Instagram for now. You might see me elsewhere if I mess up, but at Greg Benevent, B as in Bravo, E-N-E, V as in Victor, E-N-T.
Or you can watch me every Saturday night.
That's right.
Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank. I've actually got to August 12th. Is there anyone listening in the LA area? I don't know, but I need August 12th is a Saturday that I need you to come out to, I guess.
Oh, hey, great. I'll be there.
Until next week, keep listening to your coach.
Be their best selves. That's going to be required.
Stay in school.